Good afternoon. I'd like to call the town board to order, and with that, if we could stand to salute our flag. My flag is right over here. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
United
of
States
America and to the
to the
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it stands, one nation,
stands,
under God,
under
indivisible,
with liberty
and
and
justice
justice.
for all. Thank you. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. I guess we could sit so that we can be seen. Today, in our moment of silence, I want us to remember the census workers who are collecting the numbers that will base on federal and state aid for the town. They have a very difficult job this year in light of the pandemic, but they're essential. It's in the Constitution that we take a census every 10 years. And I think we have a few more days left. Maybe later on, I'll ask our Councilwoman Cartwright to explain that. But it's essential. These are essential workers in a difficult time doing a job that is so necessary and not always valued. Much like our county and our town clerks that work so hard behind the scenes to make things work out. So let's remember our census in our workers in our moment of silence. Okay, thank you, and we will proceed with the roll call.
Yes. Councilwoman Cartwright.
Present.
Councilwoman Bonner.
Here.
Councilman LaBelle.
Present.
Councilman Lagertio.
Present.
Councilman Foley.
Here.
Councilman Panico.
Here.
Supervisor Romaine.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any reports to the board?
I do not have a report to the board.
Okay, we'll move on then to communications consensus agenda, in which there's 3 items.
Yes. May I have a motion to accept the communication consensus agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We move on to the highway consensus agenda with 2 items.
Yes, 2 items on the highway consensus agenda. May I have a motion to accept the highway consensus agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Okay.
carries.
We move on to the consensus resolution agenda.
Yes, I have that, Supervisor. Thank you. And I move items C0324 through and including item C0346.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we move right on to our resolution agenda, and we'll start with Councilwoman Cartwright.
Thank you, Supervisor. Resolution 513 of 2020, authorizing the issuance of a special permit to Port Jefferson Setauket Yacht Club for the sale and service of alcohol at the Port Jefferson Setauket Yacht Club. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 514 of 2020, a resolution in support of residents' participation in the Teal Pumpkin Project on or about Halloween. So moved.
Second.
I understand this is going to be co-sponsored by the entire board.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next resolution is 515 of 2020, adoption of the record retention and disposition schedule for New York State local government records, LGS1, pursuant to Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Michael?
Oh, I was waiting. I didn't hear it say motion carried. Sorry. Excuse me. Resolution 516 of 2020, declaring the month of October 2020 National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So moved.
Second.
On that motion, Supervisor, I just want to add that today also begins Breast Cancer Awareness Month as well.
There's a lot of months named for October,
Yeah,
for a lot of worthy causes.
yes.
It's important that we look at all of them. Obviously, employment for the disability is very key. Breast cancer is something that we really have to conquer. And later on, I'm going to be doing 1 or 2 other months will be.
Great. Thank you.
Again, this resolution is being co-sponsored by
Second.
the entire board.
Yes.
I have a second. All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
517 of 20 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a grant application to New York State Dormitory Authority, State and Municipal Facilities Program for funding for drainage improvements to the Tri-Hamlet area, that's Mastic, Beach, and Shirley, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next one is 518 of 2020, and it's declaring the month of October 2020 as Dysautonomia Awareness Month. This is a disease that affects the immune system, and it is, for those who suffer from it, a terrible situation. So yes, I'm doing this on behalf of the entire board as co-sponsors. We just need a second.
Second.
Jane Bonner, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 519 of 2020, authorizing the acquisition of property for open space in partnership with the County of Suffolk located at South Country Road and Robinson Boulevard in Patchogue. The owner is 39 South Country LLC. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Legercio, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
520 of 20 is authorization for acceptance of donation of land from the Suffolk County Land Bank. The property address is 216 Washington Drive in Mastic Beach for open space purposes. Want to thank Annette and legislator Rudolph W. Sunderman and his chief of staff, Tim Rothang, for assisting us on this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries.
521 of 20 is amending resolution number 2019-0962, adopted December 19, 2019, entitled Appointment of 2020 Professional Service Providers. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution 522 is an amendment to the part-time seasonal salary schedule. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
523 of 20 is to reduce the law department petty cash fund. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
524 of 2020, determination of the premise at 7 Noble Street, Blue Point, New York, 11715, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73, pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin Spinelli and Ferretti LLC, and setting a public hearing by which the owner or other persons having an interest in the premise may be heard with respect to the condition of the premise and actions necessary to secure or remove same. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held November 19th, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 525 of 2020 is authorizing the Fourth Amendment of the contract between the County of Suffolk and the Town of Brookhaven for operation of a nutrition program for the elderly. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 526 of 2020 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to execute a permit application for the drop-off of toys at a common area in the Smith Haven Mall in conjunction with the 2020 toy drive. So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries.
527 of 20 is amending resolution 2020-0472, adopted at the August 27, 2020 Town Board hearing, designating Brookhaven Town Board as lead agency and adopting a negative declaration for the dredging of Hiles Creek in East Meriches, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 528 of 2020, Town Board of Town of Brookhaven resolution approving the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, proposed annual plan for fiscal year 2021, and authorizing the submission of same to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for review and approval. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 529 of 2020, authorization for the Town of Brookhaven to accept third allocation of Community Development Block Grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development under the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Securities Act. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 530 of 2020, amending Resolution 913 of 2019, adopted on December 5th, 2019, establishing the Town of Brookhaven's 2020 fee schedule for various departments. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 531 of 2020, declaring October 15, 2020, Hispanic Heritage Day. So moved.
Second.
And this will also be co-sponsored by all the other board members, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone else not hearing Donna when she says motion carries?
She's speaking, she's a little low. Her voice is a little low.
Okay, I will,
That's okay.
as soon as I have a break, I'll get my buds that I can do that.
Thanks, Donna.
Watch my mouth, my.
That's what I did. I'm reading your lips.
Okay.
Okay.
Jane?
You ready?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Resolution 532 is an adoption of Secret 2 type action in connection with the construction of a single-family building project in Rocky Point. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
533 of 20 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a letter of intent to the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, fiscal year 2020 Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Grant Program for funding to aid in flood mitigation and protection of surface waters from water runoff on Laurel Lee Drive in Santa Mercedes, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution 534 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a grant application to the New York State Dormitory Authority State and Municipal Facilities Program for funding for the interior restoration of the Josiah Woodhull House in Wading River, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 535, 2020, authorization for the supervisor, deputy supervisor to accept an operating grant award from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for funding for recycling education expenses. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution 0534 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor, Resolution 0536 is 2020 various operating budget revenue amendments. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 537 of 2020, authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a grant application to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for funding to restore the tern nesting habitat on Town of Brookhaven Island. So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 538 of 2020, authorization for the supervisor, deputy supervisor to execute a subrecipient agreement between the Town of Brookhaven and the United Way of Long Island to administer all aspects of the United States Department of Urban Development funded housing opportunities for persons with AIDS program on behalf of the Town of Brookhaven using 2019 federal fiscal year grant funding. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor.
Okay. Resolution 539, designating November 2nd, 2020
Thank you.
as Complex Regional Pain Syndrome Awareness Day. And this is being sponsored by all my colleagues, and I so move.
Second.
And if on that motion, I just know that Cheryl Freed is probably watching this. She comes to our town board meeting every year, and we generally give a proclamation in recognition of this day. So consider this to be more like a virtual proclamation and saying hello to Cheryl.
Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 540 of 2020, authorizing the attendance and administrative leave for Jill Davenport, William Demarest, Carl Geyer, Cameron Hanwright, and Connor Reed, Bay Constables, Division of Harbors and Waterways, to attend the boat safety and boom training in Port Jefferson, New York on October 27, 2020. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 541 is authorizing the waiver of site plan requirements and building fees for improvements to the Sound Beach Fire District headquarters. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 542 of 2020 is authorizing the waiver of site plan requirements, building fees, EAC review for improvements to the Yaphank Fire District property in Yaphank, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 543, amending Resolution 2019-0949, adopted December 19th, 2019, authorizing the superintendent of highways to rent or hire machinery or equipment. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Resolution
Resolution.
544
Okay.
of 2020, resolution authorizing the issuance pursuant to Section 90.1 or Section 90 of the local finance law of refunding bonds of the town of Brookhaven, Suffolk County, to be designated public improvement refunding serial bonds and providing for other matters in relation thereto, and the payment of the bonds to be refunded thereby. I so move.
Second.
I
This
just
is-
want to say that this is refunding for those general public means refinancing. By refinancing these bonds, these two bonds, we will be saving $6.9 million. So whenever we have an opportunity to refinance at a lower interest rate, we are always taking advantage of that to save the taxpayers money. So
And this is related to a bond, so we will do a roll call vote. Valerie Cartwright, how do you vote?
yes.
Valerie, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I said aye and you were moving forward. I didn't realize that. Aye.
And Jane Bonner?
Aye.
Kevin Laval, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike LaGurcio?
Certainly, yes.
Neil Foley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Panico?
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
We're skipping 545.
Yes,
Jane.
we are until after the public hearing.
You just make a note of that.
So we're on,
Resolution
go ahead.
We'll go back to it after the public.
546 is,
Okay, I'm sorry, Jane.
no worries. Resolution 546 is 2020 various operating and capital budget transfers. So moved.
Can I have a second? You're muted, Kevin.
Second,
Second.
I have to take the supervisor. He was first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 547 is adopting the 2021 tentative operating budget and the 2021-2025 tentative capital budget as the 2021 preliminary operating budget and the 2021-2025 preliminary capital budget. So moved.
Second.
Let me just say that a copy of these budgets have been delivered to my office, and I understand that also delivered to each one of the council members. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0548 is setting a public hearing on the 2021-2025 preliminary capital budget exclusive of all special districts. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held November 5th, 2020 at 5 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 549 is setting a public hearing on the 2021 preliminary operating budget inclusive of special districts pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 108. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held November 5th, 2020 at 5 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0550 is setting a public hearing on the matter of the increase or improvement of facilities of various special districts for the 2021-2025 capital budget pursuant to Section 202-B of the town law in the town of Brookhaven and the county of Suffolk, state of New York. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will also be held on November 5th, 2020 at 5 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Dan, do you want to take the next one?
Sure, I'll do a 551 of 2020, sponsored by myself and all of my colleagues, is declaring the month of October 2020 Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So moved.
Second.
And if I can just comment on that briefly, as you all know, I'm a breast cancer survivor. So I'm always thankful when my colleagues come together and we recognize this month every year. During this month, we generally have a whole bunch of walks to support breast cancer research and to provide information on breast cancer. But because of COVID, a lot of those, of course, are being canceled. So I just ask that everyone watching, however you can support breast cancer research and send out information on early detection, to do that, even if it is virtually this month. Thank you.
Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, that ends our resolution agenda. Does anyone have any additional resolutions?
I just have one comment, and that is the budget that is now presented, the supervisor's budget. This town, it should be noted, is staying within the state property tax cap, which is by no means an easy feat, especially given these trying times. And while COVID has put every municipality into a tough situation, it should be noted that the town of Brookhaven and every member of this board on an almost daily basis, keeping contact with each other, have moved our budget. Those people who follow our meetings and our resolutions see that we did not sit around simply letting grass grow under our feet and then look to raise taxes as some other municipalities are doing so. We've adjusted accordingly. And what the tax cap does is forces your elected officials to prioritize what they spend money on. And it should be noted that, and I'm not singling out any other municipalities, but COVID and the COVID situation is a real situation for everybody's finances. But the state came into this year over $6 billion in the red in January. The county has their own fiscal problems that everyone knows about. And it's a credit to every member who serves on this board, and especially the supervisor, finance team, Matt Miner, our chief of operations, that we were able to keep and maintain the level of services that residents of Brookhaven have come to expect, but also stay within 1.56%, which is the state tax cap. So a credit to the supervisor and to all of my colleagues. You all work very hard, and I'm honored to serve with each and every one of you.
Well,
This
thank
was-
you, Dan.
This was not an easy budget. It was very COVID. Budgets are always challenging, but COVID just made it the most challenging budget in my years in office that I've ever been. It's a hat tip to everybody, especially the finance team, the supervisor's office, and especially Matt Miner. Great job by all.
Absolutely, and I'm going to just echo them at the end because they don't get enough credit. our finance team, our finance commissioner, Tamara, our director of operations, Matt Miner, they all work together. Let's look at some of the challenges. Revenues were way down for our landfill because there wasn't the construction debris coming in. Our revenues were way down for our building department because of the building permits and COs that were down. Revenues was down for our fire marshal's office. So we had a reduction of revenues because of COVID, because we shut down society. And despite that, then we had the state that cut 20% of all of our state aid. All of our state aid was cut by 20%. And then we had other setbacks that we had to face. For example, the storm, ISIS, what is it? It's Isaiah, the storm that we had on August 4th. We have got no federal aid for that. We have got no federal aid for general government operations, unlike the county and other municipalities. As a town government, we have got no aid. And yet we were able to construct a budget that is within the tax cap and provides basic services for the residents of this town. And the one thing that we debated, and there are other towns that are going to pierce the cap, and we talked about that. And we said, this is as tough of a time as it is for us, so it is for our taxpayers. And the last thing we need to do is pile on. We need to come in with a budget that is responsible, that is fiscally conservative, that is structurally balanced, and provides the services that the residents need. So thank you to Matt Miner. Thank you to Tamara Branson. Thank you to our finance commissioner. Thank you to our finance team. And thank you to all my colleagues, because you all participated and helped. We're usually in contact, not on a daily basis, certainly on every other day, because we're on the phone. We're talking about how we can guide the town forward. And with that, I'm going to say thank you to everyone here for your support and helping this budget put together. It was not an easy one. And we will look forward to going into the future united together for the residents and taxpayers of Brookhaven. And with that, we have 1 minute for a public hearing to start, and we will start exactly at 2:30, which is what, about 30 seconds away? Donna?
Donna, you're muted.
Muted, Donna.
Supervisor, before
Yes.
we start,
Yep.
since we have 30 seconds left, can I just give the information for the census?
Oh,
As you,
absolutely.
okay, excellent. So if you have not yet filled out the census, you have until October 5th to fill out the census, and you can do that by going online to my2020census.gov. You can also fill it out via telephone. And if you fill it out via telephone, the phone number is 844-330-2020. They have language support, and they can get everything online.
Say the number again.
Absolutely. 844-330-2020. Website is my2020census.gov. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Okay, and with
Supervisor,
that, I'll turn it over to Donna Lett, our town clerk, so we can start our public hearings.
Donna, before you start, can I just make an announcement? We have a number of people, they may just be watching the hearing, but our monitors are requesting, if you're here to speak on a public hearing, please answer in the chat room, and please let the monitors know which hearing you want to speak on, so we can give you access. Thank you.
Start public hearing number 1. Uniform Traffic Code Amendments. Town Attorney Annette Adaresta will be providing a brief summary of today's public hearing to amend the Uniform Traffic Code. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days in one of the legal town newspapers. And my office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper.
Thank you. Here's the brief summary. Article 3, Section 3, Traffic Control Signals. There's one addition in the hamlet of Ridge. Article 6, Section 19, Prohibition of U-turns. There's one addition in the hamlet of Yaphank. Article 7, Section 25, Through Highways. There is one deletion in the hamlet of Ridge. Article 8, Section 30, parking, standing, and stopping. There are 2 deletions for segments of roadway in the hamlet of Blue Point. Article 8, Section 33, parking prohibited in designated areas. There are 2 deletions and 1 addition for segments of roadway in the hamlets of Blue Point and Manorville. Article 8, Section 36, parking time limited in designated locations. There are 5 additions for segments of roadways in the hamlets of Center Moriches and East Setauket. Article 8, Section 39, stopping in designated locations. There are 4 deletions and 1 addition of segments of roadway in the hamlet of Blue Point. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I make a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that first second? Was that you, Dan?
I was.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to public hearing number 2.
Public hearing number 2, introductory local law number 9 of 2020 to consider enacting an introductory local law adding chapter 21 of the code of the town of Brookhaven entitled sewer use. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. My office is also in receipt of a letter from Suffolk County Planning advising this is a matter for local determination. And should the board render a decision today, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action. Our letter from Suffolk County Planning is dated September 17th. Dear Ms. Lent, pursuant to the requirements of sections A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter for local determination, as there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. Signed, very truly yours, Andrew P. Freeling, Chief Planner.
Okay, we have Lee Raitt from our law department to briefly explain this introductory law.
Thank you. This proposal is to add a new chapter to the town code, chapter 21, entitled sewer use. In 2014, the board adopted by resolution the sewer use ordinance for Brookhaven Sewer District Number 2. And this ordinance provided standards and regulations for the sewer district, but because it was not made part of the town code, the town lacked enforcement authority. So with this amendment, we would add the sewer use regulations, standards, and penalties to the town code and allow the town to issue violations, seek fines, and to secure injunctive relief when necessary.
Thank you. Questions from the board? No questions. Speakers on this?
No speakers, Mr.
No
Supervisor.
speaker. I'll make a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we will go back to resolution 545, please.
Correct.
Back to the resolution so we can
Dan,
do
you have
that.
that?
Sure, I have it. Somewhere. Here we go. 545 of 20 is to rescind resolution number 2014-0555, adopting the town of Brookhaven sewer use ordinance. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, we are now on to public hearing number 3.
Public hearing number 3 is introductory local law number 10 of 2020 to consider enacting an introductory local law to amend chapter 85 entitled zoning, article 7 entitled town board amendments, section 85-81 entitled application requirements of the code of the town of Brookhaven. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. We are also in receipt of a letter from Suffolk County Planning advising that this is a matter of local determination. And should the board render decision today, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action. Suffolk County Planning letter is dated September 17th. Dear Ms. Lent, pursuant to the requirements of sections A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter for local determination as there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. Signed, very truly yours, Andrew P. Freeling, Chief Planner.
Thank you.
Okay.
The purpose of this amendment is to streamline and clarify the land use application requirements that are set forth in the town code. And these amendments were done in conjunction with input from the law department and the planning department and the clerk's office. In particular, we've reduced the number of hard copies that are required from 18 to 2. There were also documents that were on the planning department's list and the town clerk's list that were not set forth in the code. So in this amendment, the requirements are set forth in more detail and are now consistent throughout with each department.
Great.
Okay, questions from the board?
Now, I just have one comment, Leah. I think this is very good work. You'd walk into the lobby and you'd see people filing with dollies and hand trucks, 17 copies of this, 18 copies of that. You know, it's 2020, and I think this is very good work.
Yeah, I'd like to commend John Doyle also for wrangling all the different departments and putting it all into context for us.
Okay, say thank you to John.
John Doyle.
The legend.
He is. So with that, I will make a motion to close public hearing number 3 of October 1, 2020.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Romaine, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
And I'll make a motion to adopt public hearing number 3 of October 1, 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to public hearing number 4.
Public hearing number 4, introductory local law 11 of 2020 to consider an introductory local law amending chapter 85 of the Code of the Town of Brookhaven entitled zoning by amending section 85-734 entitled application procedure. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days and no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. My office is also in receipt of a letter from Suffolk County Planning advising that this is a matter of local determination, and should the board render decision today, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action. Suffolk County Planning letter, again dated September 17th. Dear Ms. Lent, pursuant to the requirements of sections A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter for local determination as there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as an approval or disapproval. Signed, very truly yours, Andrew P. Freeling.
Thank you, and we'll be ready to explain this as well.
Thank you. The Munsell Road Overlay District was adopted and made effective in August of 2018. Per that new code, all the property owners were required to submit a change of use application to the planning department within 2 years. And this amendment would extend that time by 6 months and allow applications to be submitted until March 21st, 2021.
Okay. Questions from the board? Is there any public speakers on this? None? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
And I'll I'll move a resolution of adoption of local law number 11, amending chapter 85 of the Code of the Town of Brookhaven entitled zoning by amending section 85, 734 entitled application procedure. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to public hearing number 5. Now, I understand it's going to be adjourned till November 19th. Do you want to open it first, Don? or
It has been open previously, so
make a motion?
I'll just say that it relates to the premises located at 38 Parkside Avenue, Miller Place, New York. And I will take a motion to adjourn, I understand, to November 19th, 2020 at 2:30 PM. Who would like to move that?
I'll move it.
I'll make that motion.
Have Jane and I'll second it. How's that?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn carries. Thank you.
Okay, we move on to public hearing number 6, which is likewise going to be adjourned to November 19th. I'll turn it over to Donna.
And this also has been previously opened, and this is a public hearing for the premises located at 551 Post Avenue, Bellport, New York. And I understand there will be a motion to adjourn to November 19, 2020 at 2:30 PM. May I have that motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Romaine, and a second, please.
Mr. LaGreca.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Berguccio, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn carries.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 7.
Public hearing number 7, determination of the premises located at 1645 Montauk Highway, Bellport, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti, LLC. The owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published in no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that this was a former animal hospital in North Bellport. We have the irrepressible Brendan Sweeney to give us a little bit of information on this.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and members of the town board, the owner of this property is Yogi Enterprises of New York Incorporated. They've owned it since September 2nd of 2010. There's no mortgage on the property. Taxes were not paid with the town by the cutoff period. I was unable to get a hold of the county because they're behind right now on if they could tell me if they paid with the county late. It's verified vacant, but not registered vacant. Asbestos is present. We had 2 inspections done. We had one done by Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti on July 27th of this year, and Inspector Incogliato followed up, look at the state of it just a couple of days ago of the 29th. In terms of violations, we had 3 waste management violations for the grass, one in 2016, one in 2018, and one in 2019. In all 3 cases, the town performed the cleanup and a lien was placed on the property. In terms of board and secures, we initially boarded this property in 2015 and we reboarded in 2017. In terms of contact, we contacted Yogi Enterprises at an address at 54 Bob White in Hicksville. In terms of correspondence, we did not receive any correspondence with the owner or representatives of the owner since we opened this demolition hearing process. Subject property is 44 by 67 wood frame single-story commercial structure on a concrete block foundation over a crawl space. There is also an accessory building at the rear of the property that measures 30 by 50. The main structure is clad with vinyl and wood siding and an asphalt shingle roof and is in poor condition. The roof is old, worn, and as you can see by pictures, has multiple large holes through the interior. The siding and fascia on this building are dilapidated. Gutters are broken or missing entirely. In terms of the accessory structure, there is deteriorating roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. The chimney has concrete blocks that are loose and crumbling, and the building is divided into 2 units, one of which was occupied at the time by a squatter. The interior is in extremely poor conditions as well. There are fallen ceilings throughout due to prolonged exposure to moisture, to water from holes in the roof. Trash, debris, and suspect mold are found throughout the interior. The crawl space, which is accessible from the exterior, has main support beams that are broken and partially burned. In terms of the accessory building, the inside is poor condition with damaged walls, suspect mold, and unsanitary conditions throughout. The building is boarded up, but the site is not secure, constituting a public safety hazard. In terms of the inspection that Senior Building Inspector Incogliato noted, he said that conditions have remained the same from when we inspected in July compared to now in September. In terms of violations, from the 2020 Property Maintenance Code of New York State, we have violations of Chapters 1 and Chapters 3. In terms of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, we have violations of Chapter 3, Sections 301 and 311. And from the Code of the Town of Brookhaven, we have violations of Chapters 49 and 73. Pursuant to the above definitions, the building is considered unsafe, lacks maintenance, is in an advanced state of disrepair, unsanitary, unfit for human occupancy. Due to its extremely poor condition and rapid deterioration, the engineers believe this site poses a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Based on prior mentioned inspections, the owner has not corrected the existing defects, nor made required repairs to the structure. Due to the dilapidated and unsafe condition of the building, the rare deterioration from lack of maintenance, and numerous violations of state and town codes, it's recommended that this structure be demolished.
Thank you. I believe Guma Sawa wishes
Yes.
to speak on this.
Correct, Mr. Supervisor. Monitors, can you let Mr. Sawa in?
Does Mr. Sawa own this property?
About to find out.
It's my understanding that he does. He owns it through the Yogi Enterprises. I was down in the building department earlier today, and I remember seeing a document that had that company name, and the from was from him. So it's my understanding he is the owner.
Okay. Is he on now? I saw him in the chat room saying he wanted to speak on this.
Yes, he's in. Mr. Sawa?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr.
Wait.
Supervisor.
Wait for the town clerk. Donna? You want to swear him in?
Oh, God.
Donna?
I'm here. Mr. Sawa, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
I'm going to start a clock. You won't see it, but I have a clock here, and when it gets to 5 minutes, I will stop you, but you'll have 5 minutes to speak. You can start.
good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor and Councilman and Town Board member. I have no any problem. I can demolish this building, and I have to apply for, according to that, when I got building permit demolition, I need first electric and also National Grid and water waste, Suffolk Water. I can apply for now, and when I get that permit right the way, I can do demolish a building.
Wonderful. Mr. Sawa, we would
Yes.
like you to stay in touch with Brendan Sweeney.
Yes.
He will contact you and give you his contact information. The way this works, sir, is I believe the board will vote to demolish this now, which means that we will not do anything for 30 days. Within that 30 days, should you apply for a demo permit, a demolition permit, then we are not going to do anything. And then we're going to wait to see. And if you actually do demolish it, then we're not going to take any action. But if you don't, then we'll move ahead based on today's resolution. So not that that's just to let you know how this will work.
Mr. Supervisor, Brendan may and the law department may already have some shut-offs, so I just tell Mr. Sawa to please check with the law department and we can help you with some of those items.
I can already note I do have an email confirming that water was shut off, and I'm looking for National Grid and the electric right now as we speak.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney, what would you give Mr. Sawa your contact number, telephone number where he can reach you?
Yes, I'm going to message him in the chat right now so that way he has it.
Wonderful.
Brendan, is there
But-
gas in here
One
also?
thing I request that, Mr. Supervisor, I request only as soon as possible, they can give me demolition permit. I can do right the way, but in case, if they don't give me 30-day demolition permit, I can apply for tomorrow. It's not my fault, anything.
No. We'll take care of you getting the demolition permit.
Thank
stay
you.
in touch with Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Sweeney's going to stay in touch with you. We're not looking to take this building down if you can do it, and probably you can do it a lot cheaper than we can. So we just know that this is an eyesore. It's been neglected. It has been taken care of. It's to the point now where either you come in and fix it up, put in a building permit, or you come in and put in a demolition permit and you tear it down. And you should have no problem doing that. Stay in touch with Mr. Sweeney. We're not going to move against you as long as you're looking to do either fix it up or tear it down. We're more than happy to let you do that. Okay?
Can I speak 1 minute?
Sure.
Is a lot of veteran that in a Bellport, they're looking for, if you allow me, tomorrow I can apply for a building permit. I can fix a whole complete a building and I give to veteran at least a volunteer so they can live there. They don't have a living.
Mr. Supervisor, this would need an engineered set of plans. It's not something that can happen tomorrow, as Mr. Sawa suggests. This is not an easy road. The recommendation, and it's a hazardous condition, we've already had squatters in it, is to demolish this. This one is a little bit beyond repair, and veterans can't live in it. It's a commercial structure. It's probably on commercial property since it's on Montauk Highway. So I wouldn't want to get off the track here of getting a demolition permit within the next 30 days.
No, but Mr. Sawa has the ability to either come in and give us plans to fix it up, or come in and give us plans to demolish it.
And
he's-
it would be as a commercial structure. And
Right.
I don't know
It is zone J6 business.
Zone J6, so
which is downtown business. Please stay in touch with Mr. Sweeney, and he can guide you so you don't make any investments that are not going to pay off.
Mr.
Okay.
Sawa, I think it's better off you definitely demolish this building. You've had it for 5 years, and we're at the point where it's time for action, and we want to move forward and demolish this building.
Do I have a motion to close it? There are no other.
A motion to close public hearing number 7.
I will second that.
I
All
have
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
I have a resolution of adoption determining the premises of 1645 Montauk Highway in Bellport, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti LLC. So moved.
I will second that.
To that motion, a second, Mr. Supervisor. I just want to say thank you to yourself. It's been your effort and my effort, along with the total support of our colleagues on the board, in continuing of cleaning up that entire corridor in Bellport and Brookhaven and East Patchogue. So thank you to you, Mr. Supervisor, and to all our colleagues on the board for their support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adopt carries. Thank you.
Mr.
You
Sawa,
can,
please stay in touch with Brendan Sweeney.
Yes, I can do tomorrow, sir.
He'll send you his contact information.
It's already been sent over. I messaged him privately.
Okay.
Have a
thank
nice
you.
day.
and you can remove Mr. Sawa from the room, please.
And we are on to the next public hearing number 8.
Public hearing number 8, determination of the premises located at 19 Overlook Drive, Mastic, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73, pursuant to the engineer's report of Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti LLC. The owner of the persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days, in one of the Legal Town newspapers prior to the public hearing. My office has received the signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper, and should the board render decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Thank you. And we have Brendan Sweeney to tell us a little bit about 19 Overlook Drive, Mastic, which obviously uses a lot of stone in that construction.
Well, before we start, I want to say this is the second time we're having this hearing. And this is testament to the fact that the town of Brookhaven, law department, waste management department, this town board tries to work with people in an effort to get these properties either rehabbed or torn down on their own. When you look at that front structure of the building, anyone watching this may say, well, it doesn't look that bad. If you recall, and we're going to get into it, Mr. Sweeney is going to get into it. This was the property almost a year ago. I had told the town board, it looks like it was hit by an asteroid. And I'll let Mr. Sweeney take it away from there. And I'll have everyone know that the condition of the property certainly has not improved with time. So Mr. Sweeney, it's yours.
Thank you, Supervisor and Councilman Panicos. So the owner of this property had changed since the last hearing of this. It is now owned by Francois Wilfred Jean since April 10th of 20.
What did they say?
No mortgages on this property. The taxes, like the previous property, are unpaid for this
So
year
they
with the
approved
town.
it, or-
Excuse me one moment. Excuse me, Brandon. We have somebody in the meeting. Mr. Sawa is still here and there are voices coming over. So please remove him from the meeting. Thank you. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, and this one was on our vacant registry back in 2018. However, neither the previous owner nor the current owner renewed it to be on the vacant registry as of now. No asbestos is found on this property, and 3 inspections have been conducted. One by Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti, January 15th, 2019, which was around the time we initially heard it the first time. Inspector Incogliato did a follow-up March 13th, 2019, and then he did another follow-up a couple of days ago at this property, and he noted that conditions have worsened since we last heard this property a year ago. We initially boarded it at one point in May of 2018, and we reboarded it again September of 2020. As Councilman Panico noted, we did vote to approve demolition of this home back on March 14th of 2019. At the time, 3 permits were in the works with the building department for this property by the homeowner. As of 4/10/2020, all 3 of them either expired or they were denied in various stages, plans or permit review, and the owner never followed up to try and make any further attempts to get the permits into compliance or make any work. It was decided that we should hold this hearing due to the time that had passed, and no correspondence has been received from the owner since we reopened this process again in July of 2020. We contacted Mr. Jean at an address in Jamaica, in New York, in Queens, and now for the property. Subject building is 40 by 84, 2-story wood frame residential structure with a basement constructed on concrete block foundation. It's clad with stone veneer and wood siding and a combination of asphalt shingle and flat roll roofing. It's in extremely poor condition. As mentioned in previous reports, a large portion of the east side of the building has collapsed and some of the remaining structure is unstable. The property has been cleaned up in the front and a chain link fence was previously there to keep trespassers out. This fence was compromised though, and the site is now open to trespassers. Debris from the collapse has not been removed and remains in a dangerous condition. The west side of the building continues to deteriorate and the structure on this side is severely compromised. The flat roof scuppers on the west side direct water down the side of the building, resulting in a rotting of structural members that you'll be able to see in the basement and the first floor. At the rear of the building, steel columns support the overhang are rusted through and broken away, leaving the overhang without support. Also at the rear, the center steel column supporting the deck above has fallen away. The overhang and the deck are not properly supported, and over time they will both sag and collapse. At the deck level, the building is protected only by deteriorating OSB board sheathing. The soffit above the front entrance is detached and hanging. There's several holes seen through the roof, as seen from the interior. There's no gutters, it's not maintained, and navigation around this property is difficult. The interior has been cleaned out of all personal belongings and furniture, allowing a closer inspection of the exterior walls. At the west side of the first floor in the basement, some serious deterioration of the exterior walls is observed. Sill plates, floor joists, and sheathing are severely rotted due to prolonged exposure to moisture, and there are holes through the exterior. Eventually, if left unattended, this west side of this structure could potentially collapse like the east side. There's fallen ceilings in various locations throughout. On the second floor, there are ceilings open to the exterior in a bathroom and in one of the bedrooms. There is also suspect mold located throughout the building, especially in the basement. It's only at the time of Cash and Spinelli, it was only partially boarded up, and we've boarded it further since then, but the site is not secure, constituting a public safety hazard. As I noted before, Inspector Incogliato noted that conditions have only worsened on this property since our last inspection. In terms of violations, we have from the following. From the 25th International Property Maintenance Code, we have violations of Chapter 1, Sections 101 and 108. From Chapter 3, we have violations of Sections 301, 302, and 304. From the 2015 International Fire Code, we have violations of Chapter 3, Sections 301 and 311. And from the Code of the Town of Brookhaven, we have violations of Chapters 49 and 73. Pursuant to the above definitions, the building is considered unsafe, lacks maintenance, is in a state of extreme disrepair, unsanitary, and unfit for human occupancy. Due to its poor condition and rapid deterioration, they believe this site poses a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Based on the prior mentioned inspections and the expiration of the building permits, the owner has not corrected the existing defects, nor made required repairs to the structure. Due to dilapidated and unsafe condition of the building, rate of deterioration, and numerous violations of state and town codes, it's recommended it be demolished.
Hey, is there any questions from any board members?
I have just one more comment. Although Mr. Sweeney did say property has been boarded now on a number of occasions, the property is impossible to secure. As everyone saw to the east side of the property, it is just a wide, huge, gaping hole where the house partially collapsed. It is my fear that as the colder weather approaches, you're going to have people invariably try to move into here, potentially light a fire, and I would hate to see the occupants in there or firefighters going in to save those people be harmed. And I would like to ask Annette if there is a requirement or if there is not a requirement to give the 30 days on this property, because this is the second hearing. We've had this hearing before. I'll leave it up to the law department, but I'd like to get this down as soon as we can within the confines of the law.
There is no requirement. That's a courtesy the board gives. However, I don't know that we have all the shut-offs. But if you want to just do less than 30 days, that's certainly within your wherewithal. I can change the resolution of adoption.
I'll check on the shutoffs right now to see if we've
Why don't
obtained.
we change it to, instead of 30 days, why don't we change it in this particular one to when all the shut-offs are given and it's suitable for demolition?
Yeah,
So in the previous hearing, when we did it back in 2019, we had confirmation from National Grid and from PSE&G that they were both shut off. So the only one, if those are still standing, the only thing that would be outstanding would be water, and I can look into find out if that's been done as well.
Check on all shut-offs, Brendan, please.
Right.
This should be pushed. This should be pushed. It should be expedited. This is a little bit of an emergency situation.
Okay.
And Waste Management can take this down. As Mr. Sweeney stated, there is no asbestos in this.
Right, now, there's no speakers on this public hearing.
No, there are not, Mr. Supervisor.
So at that, I'm going to allow Councilman Panico to close his public hearing.
I'm going to move to close public hearing number 8 of October 1, 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
And the resolution of adoption determining the premises at 19 Overlook Drive, Mastic, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti. I will note that the resolution of adoption is amended to be as soon as possible under all relevant laws.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 9.
Public hearing number 9, determination of the premises located at 53 Glenmere Lane, Quorum, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73, pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. The owner or the persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing on one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Okay, thank you. And we have Brendan Sweeney to explain 53 Glenmere Lane in Coral.
Yes, so 53 Glenmere Lane is owned under the name of Donna Hamilton. She's owned it since July 26th of 2005. There are two mortgages on this property, one with Deutsche Bank that they've had since October 11th of 2011, and a Somerset Investors Corp. Who has had an interest since July 26th of 2005. Taxes are paid to date. It is registered with us for this current present year of 2020. Asbestos is present, and we had two inspections conducted, one by Cashin Spinelli and Ferretti on July 27th of 2020, and one by Inspector Incogliato on September 29th of 2020. We had one litter violation in 2018 that the town cleaned up the same year, and we had it initially boarded in 2017 for this home. We contacted numerous property. We contacted Ms. Hamilton. We contacted Deutsche Bank. We contacted Somerset Investors Corp. We contacted another mortgage company in Rochester. We contacted what I believe was the mortgage entity's attorneys because there is a foreclosure on this property. We also contacted Altisource, who was retained as the property management company for this property. Altisource has been in touch with the law department regarding it. At one point, they were doing work without a permit and a stop work order was issued. Since that stop work order was issued, they have not progressed any further with working on the home or coming to us to get a permit. And at a previous date, after that stop work order was issued, they now state that they are unable to do anything further until the foreclosure process is complete. Subject building is a 40 by 42 wood frame 2-story residential structure with a basement resting on concrete foundation. It's clad with vinyl and asbestos shingle siding and an asphalt shingle roof and is in poor condition. The roof is old, worn, and based on conditions observed at the interior, it's not watertight. The siding is broken and missing in areas, and fascia is deteriorating throughout. The exposed ends of the ridge and eave beams are rotting. The second-story deck at the front of the building is dilapidated, and the railing is in danger of collapse. A hole through the deck roofing has caused serious water damage to the exterior wall below, as well as the support beam under the deck itself. This beam is rotted away from the exterior wall and no longer provides support for this end of the deck. The roof in this area is still open to the interior of the building. A new wood railing was installed at the exterior basement steps, as well as new asphalt on the driveway. The interior is also in poor condition with deteriorating household items, trash and debris throughout, and suspect mold present. It's partially gutted. At the front of the house, there is a hole through the roof, and water infiltration is causing rotting of the walls and the floor. On the second floor, water is noted on the flooring, indicating a roof leak. The basement is damp and full of trash. Everything is boarded up, but the site is not secure, constituting a public safety hazard. Senior Building Inspector Incogliato noted that the conditions have remained the same and no work has been performed. Numerous violations were observed, including the following. From the 2020 Property Maintenance Code of New York State, we have violations of Chapter 1, Sections 101 and 107, Chapter 3, Sections 301 and 304. From the 2015 Fire Code of New York State, we have violations of Chapter
I'm
301 and 311. And from the Code of the Town of Brookhaven, I have Chapters 49 and 73. Pursuant to the above definitions, the building is considered unsafe, lacks maintenance, is in an advanced state of disrepair, unsanitary, and unfit for human occupancy. To its very poor condition and rapid deterioration, the engineers believe this site poses a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Based on prior mentioned inspections, the owner has not corrected those existing defects nor made required repairs to the structure. It is noted that some repair work has been performed over the past year and a half, but it's mostly cosmetic. It is thus the engineer's recommendation that the structure is unsafe, and if it cannot be reasonably repaired to meet town codes and state codes in a timely manner, it should be demolished.
Okay, questions from the board? No questions? Do we have any speakers on this? No speakers. I move to close this public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second. Okay,
I think Donna may have froze.
okay.
All right, I'll take an
Supervisor,
attention.
you can call it. All those in
I
favor?
made, all right, I made the motion, Ed seconded it.
Yes, that's correct.
So all those in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
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 All right, hearing is
Opposed?
closed.
Anyone
Resolution of adoption determining the premises at 53 Glenmere Lane, Quorum, New York, Suffolk County tax map numbers are provided. To be unsafe is defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay,
Thank you.
we're on to public hearing number 10. Unfortunately, this public hearing will be withdrawn. I make a motion to withdraw it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The matter is withdrawn.
Okay, that ends the business of this board for today. I'll take a motion to adjourn this.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We now stand adjourned. I thank you all. Look forward to working with you towards our next board meeting, which will be at the end. When's our next? October
22nd?
22nd. So we will see everyone back at the next board meeting. Of course, I see most of you guys just about every other day. You're doing a great job, I gotta say. And I think the budget reflects that. So with that, we'll see you all.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.